Hi everyone, I welcome you all to my YouTube channel CloudByVeer. My name is Virender, and this particular series I'm going to start. And in this particular series, the topic which is Terraform, we are going to learn about, and we are going to see that basically by using AWS Cloud inside this Terraform tool, which is an open source infrastructure as code tool where you can define and create your resources using some providers. Maybe you can have AWS as your provider, you can have Azure as your provider, GCP as your provider. So if you go to the Google and if you just open a particular new window and if you just type over here Terraform providers, you will see that inside this Terraform registry, we can have multiple providers available. That means that with the help of this Terraform tool, you can use any cloud provider and you can create your own resources inside that particular cloud provider. So this Terraform is also, you can also package and you can reuse the code in the form of modules because it supports a number of cloud providers. We can have, you can see on the screen that different cloud providers are basically supported by this HashiCorp Terraform, right? So if you want to follow the same practical series of the Terraform tool, what is the prerequisite is that you just go to the Terraform website and you just type over here Terraform download and it will take you to the official documentation of the Terraform, in which you will be able to see the number of options available for Mac, Windows, and for Linux according to your operating system environment. You can install this Terraform inside your local system. And once you will install this, do not forget to add the variables, environment variables to the path of this particular Terraform. First, after downloading this Terraform inside your local system, it will be downloaded inside the downloads folder. And from the downloads folder, just copy that particular zip file or extract that zip file in the download folder itself and then copy the Terraform folder which will be created inside your downloads folder and paste that folder inside your C program files and then copy the path of the same and go to your environment variables and add path to that particular Terraform environment variables, right? Once you will done with this process, select your provider. In our case, we are going to learn about the AWS infrastructure. It will be a series of videos in which we are going to see that how we can create multiple resources with the help of this Terraform infrastructure as a code tool via AWS provider, right? So we are going to see that how we can create multiple resources of AWS cloud inside the Terraform tool basically, right? So before that, let's create a folder inside our folder E or the repository E. Let's create a new folder over here, right? Named as my Terraform, right? And once you will create this particular folder, go to the file section of your Visual Studio Code and click on this open folder over here. And let's try to find out the folder which we have created right now, my Terraform. Select that folder. Do you want to save your workspace configuration as a file? So you can click on that save over here. And let's go to the Terraform again. File name, maybe you can provide as Terraform as of now and just click on this save option. Okay, now we are inside this my Terraform folder. You can see over here, my Terraform workspace has been created by this particular. Now my Terraform, we are inside this my Terraform. Now we will click on that new file and we'll try to create a new file. Before that, let me just explain you that what exactly the resource we are going to create in this particular demonstration video. So we are going to create a two-tier Amazon VPC using Terraform. Now, what is that VPC basically? So this VPC stands for, or we can call it as AWS VPC, Amazon Web Services VPC. So this VPC stands for Virtual Private Cloud. So inside this AWS cloud, we have this concept of VPC, Virtual Private Cloud. It's a custom defined virtual network for an individual or for an organization. You can create this virtual private isolated network inside the AWS cloud so that you will be able to logically create your own personal network. All the designing of this network, the implementation of this network, and all the independence of creation of these, all the resources inside this virtual private cloud will be in your hand, and you will be able to operate this entire VPC infrastructure inside AWS cloud from your account by your own, right? So we have multiple components of this virtual private cloud in which we have some IP addresses inside this VPC. We have subnets inside this VPC, which are basically logically parts in which we will be dividing this virtual private cloud. We have net gateways, which are basically used so that your private virtual machines will be able to communicate to the internet without exposing their original identity. That's why we use the network address translation gateway devices. We have route tables resource, we have internet gateway resource, and etc. We have multiple resource, internet gateway IGW. So I will show you, and we'll able to also log into the AWS management console so that we'll able to check the resources if they are being generated by the code which we are going to use inside the Visual Studio Code using the Terraform, right? So first step is that you just log in inside your AWS Management Console account, maybe via root user, or you can use your IAM user as well. It's just that you will require this access key and secret access key for access this particular account. So let's go to the VPC section over here. And in this VPC, I will just show you that I am right now inside the Northern Virginia region, right? And in this, you can see that we have the different resources to create. We have VPCs, NAT gateways, peering connections, network ACL, subnet, route tables, internet gateway, security group. Multiple resources are available inside this VPC environment. Now, if I click on this VPC over here, as of now, we have only this one VPC, which is default VPC. So whenever you create your AWS account, in each region, you will get this default VPC by default, right? So now forget about all these things. Now let's focus on the part on which we are going to learn. That is how we can create two-tier VPC environment with the help of Visual Studio Code, right? So the very first thing is that open your Visual Studio Code, create a folder in any directory, and try to open that particular directory. And inside that particular directory, let's just make a new folder, maybe, right? Or maybe a new file. So the very first thing is that we are going to create a variable file. Now, what will be this variable file? So this variable file where basically we are going to declare all the global variables with the help of some short descriptions and some default values, right? So once I will do that, you will be able to understand what exactly I'm talking about, right? So let's click on this new file and give name as variables.tf. TF is the extension of the Terraform. Hit enter and let's create this file inside only this my Terraform. So create file. So you'll able to see that variables.tf or the Terraform file is basically generated or created, right? Let me just make it a little bit big so that you will be able to see that what exactly I'm going to write over here. Fine. Now, if you want to save this file after writing the code, you can use Control plus S, right? So that everything, whatever you will be writing over here, will be written inside this or will be saved inside this variable.tf, right? Now, once you decide that the location of this variable.tf is my inside my E drive, my Terraform folder, you need to write this code inside this file, and you need to, don't need to change the location of this file. Keep it default, right? Or wherever you are writing this code, make it default maybe, or just remember, or don't try to change it. Otherwise, you will face some error. Now, in this variables.tf, we are going to declare some variable, right? We are going to declare a variable called as access key. We will be declaring a variable named as secret key, and we will be declaring a variable as a region. So that the main.tf file or the main Terraform file, which we are going to create, inside that we are going to write the code so that it will take the information from this variables.tf, right? So all these codes which I am going to use are given inside the Terraform documentation. If you go to the Google and if you just type Terraform documentation for AWS, it will automatically take you to this link, AWS provider Terraform registry. And on the left hand side, you can see over here, all the AWS services are given over here. So if you search for VPC over here and hit enter, you will able to see that we have, let me just scroll down, see this VPC is available over here. So we have the different resources inside the VPC. So if you want to declare AWS route table, you just click on this route table section over here and you can take the code from here. If you are new to the Terraform, you can just copy this code from here. If you want to create a VPC, you can take this code from here. What are the different points available and what are the different things we need to write if you want to create a VPC in the AWS account via use Terraform too. So all these code available over here, whether you want to create a route table, whether you want to create an AWS subnet, everything is given over here. Just copy from here and paste it inside your Visual Studio Code. And just before that, try to learn the basics of the Terraform. What are the variable files? What are the main files? And the different Terraform commands we are going to use at the end of this particular session, right? So we are going to create a variable named as access underscore key, and we will make it as a dictionary. And inside this dictionary, we will be writing the description for this particular variable which we have created the as access key, that it is the access key to access the AWS console, right? This is the first variable we have created. Now we are going to create the second variable, and the second variable we are creating as C. It is giving next automatically, it is giving suggestion to you that you can create a secret key variable after this access key. How it is showing you these recommendations or the suggestions? Because I have integrated the Amazon Q service to my Visual Studio Code, which can help you to suggest or to generate code for your personal use inside this Visual Studio Code so that it can save your time. So for developers out there, Amazon Q or Amazon Code Whisperer is a great tool to use. It will save your time and it will automatically give you recommendations and suggestions for the new code. So if I will hit and tab button over here, automatically my new variable is created as a secret key, and the same I wanted to create over here, right? So it's just that, just remove this double quote from here automatically, right? Now this third which I wanted to create over here is that I wanted to create a variable named as region, in which the description should be AWS region, right? And the default value I'm putting over here as US East. So if I will hit and tab button over here, it will take this suggestion and automatically my code is written over here. It's that easy to write code for your Terraform tool or to any particular tool. If you have integrated your Amazon Q or you have installed the particular extension of Amazon Q with your Visual Studio Code, right? So in this particular code, we have declared three variables. We have declared access key variable, secret key variable, and we have declared the region variable in which we have given some descriptions as well, right? Let's hit Control plus S, and now the code is basically saved over here. Now let's create a new file over here and give this new file name as terraform.tf terraform.tf. So this is a new file we are creating, and inside this new file, what we are going to do, we are going to give the value for these variables we have created inside this variables.tf. So we have created a new file terraform.tf variables, which is related to the variables file, right? So the first value we will be providing, as we have already provided, but let's take it, the suggestion, the region, and the region should be your US East 1. As I have already shown you that I am inside my US East 1 region over here. So whatever the resources we will be creating will be created inside this US East 1 region. So the region should be US East 1. Now you need to provide the access key and your secret access key. Now where you can find this access key and secret access key, so you can just go to your AWS management console over here. And if you want to provide access key for your root account, that also be a good option. Otherwise, you can go to this IAM section over here. Go to the user section over here. Let's create a username as Terraform user. Click on next. And let's attach policies directly. As of now, I'm going to give it as the administrator user, so that there will be no any challenges related to the permission part. Open this user, go to the security credentials, open this access key section over here, give access of the command line. Maybe you can also give access to the third party services as well, right? And apart from that, okay, understand, and click on the next, create access key. So you can just copy this access key from here, go to your Visual Studio Code and paste your access key as this. Just put a double quote at the starting and at the end, so that it will not give you any type of error. Next, let's provide the value for the secret key as well. Copy from here and hit provide it over here. Control plus S, and that's it. Now you have provided that access key and secret access key for the user, Terraform user we have created, right? Now, after replacing this value, I have just put it headed that Control plus S to save the content of that particular file. Now we are going to write the code to create the resource which we wanted to create. Right? So to create those resource, let's create a new file, and now this file will be named as main.tf. So this will be our main file in which we are going to write the main code which we wanted to create as the VPC resource inside our AWS account. So first, let's have some configurations and some parameters over here. So to declare the different parts, right? So first, this Terraform will require the information of the provider. Who is the provider? In our case, in our case, the provider is basically AWS. And this AWS provider is having some information of the region, which is our US East 1. Or what you can do, you just can use a dollar sign over here, right? And after this dollar sign, use the curly braces, and inside this curly braces, the file which you have created as variables.tf, you can provide the name of that particular file as well. We have used variables, so we will be using var dot region, and let me just give it name as the complete name, variables dot region. Well, let's forget about all these things. Just use the US East one automatically, the suggestion provided by this Amazon Q, right? And then the access key, and the access key should be, this is the access key we have given. So let's provide the access key. Now it will suggest you that next should be the secret access key. This is the secret access key we have. Provide that over here. Okay. And hit the enter button. Now in this particular section, we only need to provide that as in the main.tf file. Now we will provide the information of the resource, which resource we wanted to create. So we want to create AWS VPC. We wanted to create AWS VPC, and we will give this VPC name as a VPC only. So if you want to take this suggestion, you can hit tab, otherwise you just hit escape and it will remove all the suggestions from here. So we will give name it is as a VPC only, right? And apart from this information, there is one more information which you need to provide over here. Only the CIDR block information you need to provide. What is the CIDR you wanted to use? So let's take this CIDR only. Let me just remove this tag from here. So I'm using this CIDR block, which is 10.0.0.0/16. This is an IP address range, or you can say this classless interdomain routing range, which I'm taking for my VPC, so that the IP addresses from this range will include inside my VPC, so that my resources can take the IP address from this particular range. So in this particular pod, basically we have defined the provider as the AWS, and which resource we wanted to create as the VPC resource we wanted to create with the help of one CIDR range. Now we need to provide the information of the other resource with this particular VPC, and other resource can be our AWS Internet Gateway, which we can give name as IGW, and with the VPC ID, right? So that is not an issue. Once we'll create the VPC, we will have that VPC ID as well. Apart from this resource, what else we can create? We can create the different subnets, but in this particular part, we can have the resource as maybe the first week. Let's create the AWS route table for that, right? We can use the AWS route table. Why we are using this route table? So that we want to provide a route maybe to the internet or to the internal VPC only, because without providing a route to the resources of your VPC, how your resources are going to interact with the internet gateway and to the internet. So for that, we need to create a route table. So in our case, we can create AWS underscore route, and forget about this suggestion, provide the route name as only the route over here. So no issues in that. Everything is good so far. Okay. Now, if you're providing the route table or the route table information over here, before that, you also need to provide the route table ID, the destination CIDR range you need to provide, and your internet gateway ID also you wanted to give over. So let's hit this tab button. Automatically, it will take all the information over here, and your route table, your destination CIDR, which is the internet CIDR, which we are providing to this route table, so that via this internet gateway, if any resource from the public VPC environment wants to communicate to the internet, it will go through the CIDR. It will go through the internet gateway to the internet via this CIDR, or this is the destination basically, which is imply the internet as the destination, right? And the data should be the AWS availability zones, right? So AWS availability zone should be available over here, and the state should be available of the AWS availability zones. So that is also good. That is great. Okay, so I need to just change something from here. So the data as availability zones available, and here we just provide another curly braces over here, and after that just remove all these things, so that we'll able to add more resource over here, and after that just hit enter button. And now let's add a new resource. A new resource we can add as AWS subnet. And if we are using, or if we are creating a subnet, that is basically we are dividing our VPC into multiple parts named as subnets. The CIDR range which we have given to the VPC will be divided into these multiple subnets basically. So for that, we need to provide multiple things to this particular subnet. We need to provide the count to this subnet. We need to give the VPC ID, the CIDR range, and the it will also able to map the public IP on launch and the availability zone. These things we need to provide to this basic AWS subnet over here. Let's forget about the suggestion over here. So AWS subnet, and this will be our main subnet, right? Apart from that, let's provide count to this, and let's provide the count is equal to uh, length. And what should be the length? Length should be the availability zone which we have given to this particular VPC, and to the availability zone already we have given that, and the VPC ID should be the AWS underscore VPC which we have created, the CIDR range which we have given as from that CIDR range which we have given to the VPC as 10.0.0.0/16. From that we are giving 10.0.0/24 we are giving to this particular subnet, and the availability zone which we have already declared, right, that we have provided to this particular subnet. So in the same availability zone, this is going to be created over here. Let me just write element over here, and let me just put it inside the, or let's forget about this. This is another concept. We don't need to focus more on that. So in this particular code, what we have done, we have created an internet gateway. You can see over here, we have added a route to the internet for our PPC resources so that they will be able to communicate to the internet via internet gateway. We have checked all the availability zones available inside that particular region, and we have created a subnet inside that particular region. That is what we have done so far, right? So let's hit Control plus S, and so good so far. Everything is good over here. We have provided all the informations. Now let me just open the terminal from here. Try to perform some commands over here. Now to generate the action plan, there is a, we can say, command in the Terraform which is known as Terraform plan. Uh, the following depends selection recorded in local file contains the content provider registry version is selected. Terraform. Okay. Sorry. Before Terraform plan, we need to provide one command, Terraform initialization command. We need to provide so that it will be initializing the resources in the backend. It will be installing all the available plugins for the resources which you want to create. And once this Terraform init will check for all the plugin dependencies and all the downloads which them are required for the Terraform. If required, then it will do that, and this will be used to create the deployment plan basically, right? So the initialization state has been fulfilled, and once you initialize, just clear the screen. And now let's plan for the deployment part. Terraform space plan, and now it will execute this and it will review the whole generated plan by you, right? And once it will give you the plan, it will give you the details that these are all the resources which we are going to create inside your AWS account via the information in the different files we have provided. You can review the plan and you can review the different resources which are going to be created inside your AWS account. Once you will be like sure, or you will be agree, or maybe we can use the word over here, is that once you are ready to deploy all the resources inside your AWS account, just use another and the last command, which is Terraform apply. So you can see over here that it will be creating all these resources inside your AWS account. So let me just provide the last command over here. Before that, let's clear the screen and perform Terraform space apply, and boom, in just couple of seconds, whatever the resources you have declared inside this main.tf file, all the resources will be created. Approve the creation of all the resources. You just enter over here yes, that I am approving. You can create all the resources inside my account. So you can see that VPC has is being created, subnet is being created, internet gateway is being created. Apply complete. Total 9 resources are added inside your AWS account. Now, if you want to check the resources, whether your resources has been created or not inside your AWS account, you just go to your user over here, Terraform user, security credentials, copy this console link, open this console link in the new tab, enable the console access. Sorry, let me just sign in with the root account first and try to create a username, which is Terraform user, and try to create a password for that user as well. So let me just copy this console link first, or there is no issue with that. Enable console access. Username is Terraform user, and this is the console password. And let me just copy the console link to my notepad. And after the console link, copy the console password as well. Okay, this is the password. Now paste that link over here. Now the name, username should be Terraform user, and the password is this. Copy this password and paste it over here. Click on this sign in button. So I'm inside this Terraform user in the AWS console. Let's move to the VPC section in the Northern Virginia, and let's see if the VPC has been created or not, or the resources are being created or not inside this particular account. So let's go to the VPC, and you can see there is a VPC apart from the default VPC is available, which with the help of this 10.0.0/16, and which is created. Is it the default VPC? No, it is not the default VPC. Now in this VPC, let's go to the subnet section. Let's see if any subnet is created for this VPC or not. Let me just check the VPC ID as E5C at the end of this VPC ID. So E5C, do we have that E5C? This is the subnet ID. See, you can see E5C, one subnet is created for this E5C. Then we have the route table for this E5C. So for E5C, we have this route table as well. We have created the internet gateway. So for the E5C, we have this internet gateway as well. And if you open this internet gateway, you will be able to see that it is attached to only the E5C VPC. So this is what we have done so far. As we have created the resources, we have created a VPC, we have created the division of the VPC as in the subnet section. We have used all the availability zones, we have created the internet gateway, we have created a route table with the help of these different easy commands in the Terraform. So this is how you can create your own infrastructure inside this AWS with the help of this infrastructure as code tool, which is known as the Terraform over here from the HashiCorp, right? So we have seen today that how to create a two-tier VPC using the Terraform. In the next video, we are going to learn how to host a S3 static website using Terraform for inside your AWS account. So stay tuned and let's wait for the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Happy learning. Keep smiling. Have a good day. Take care and bye bye, boss.